love that
They said the
controller.
materia melding will happen instantly. So within a second, there might be 200 materia disappearing from your inventory.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh gosh, just the money. Like I appreciate the like quality of life improvement of it, but it's just like
Yeah.
just whoosh, it's gone. All right, so they asked everybody to submit questions prior to today. I don't remember that, but neat. First question, please tell us what a UI designer does. Good first question.
Good start.
That'd be a weird one to end on.
Well, Andy, welcome. Glad you're here. The name of the patch is Futures Rewritten, and it's including the things that we expected it to conclude, as well as they are adding in basically the BA content. And it's going to be, the thing that's exciting about BA is that it's not called BA, but it's that you can actually queue for it independently, so you're not going to have to like jump through hoops to get into it.
All right. So far, this is what I thought a UI designer did.
So he's been the one behind all the group pose stuff.
Oh, nice. That's quite a bit.
Bicky Butt says, as someone who spent so much on pentamelding, I am horrified by this Matera change.
Yeah, because it's going to be the same amount as before. They're just letting you do it all at once.
Mm-hmm.
So all they're doing is saying like, yeah, we'll just do it.
Right.
Now, my question is, will they then go back and allow me to gamble multiple materia at once for Mutamix? Like, can we just turn this whole thing into speed mode?
So they're showing some of his work.
Is still a very like manual process compared to what they're implementing for actual pentamelding.
Yeah, so they're showing off some of his work. If you guys like have used any of the stuff that he's showing on screen, this is what he does. Okay, Keith, abso-freaking-lutely. My summoner not having the pets actually be like pets, and they're just kind of there. Like, it really has hurt my enjoyment of the job. I'm hoping for a full summoner rework, in 6.0. That's what I want.
Well, maybe as you guys come back to the source, she'll be separated.
I know, right? That would be a big change. I thought when I looked at the fact that they still hadn't separated it by now, I was like, man, I bet they're like, oh, this is a lot of work.
Stream started about an hour and a half ago, a little over.
Let's see here. I can see how long we've been live. Where's my little app? There we go.
Yeah. We've been live for an hour and 39 minutes.
Oh, yeah. 6.0, I hope they talk about like a virtual fan fest at the as they go forward through this. That's what I'm kind of also waiting for. So November's just around the corner, and that's usually like it's October, November when they make those bigger announcements.
In his portfolio work, they showed off Cheap Dungeon. Do you remember Cheap Dungeon?
No.
It is that spoof thing where you went into like the 2D thing instead of Deep Dungeon?
Oh, yeah.
Cheap Dungeon.
Cheap Dungeon. The Egg Hunter and the Jigsaw puzzle, yeah.
Anybody else getting a DC on Primal?
The Duty Finder World Visit G-Pose is actually all a part of the UI designer team's responsibility. So World Visit was actually under him as well. And Metallistic Games, thanks so much for that super $2 sticker.
Hey, you.
Hey, you. It's like YouTube is slowly like catching on. Like, anyway, at some point, I hope that they even have an announcement.
Like when I was a kid and my dad told me that internet gaming was a fad.
Yeah.
They're like, Emojis and online chatting will fade.
They had a video saying like they're bringing the features that are expected that we had that are on other platforms, so like raids or hosts and things like that. But there's no timeline for that, so it's like, all right, if you're
The good
ready.
news on the rating tier, Andy, in my opinion, is that the next patch will be coming out in early December, and that 5.41 will be in January. And so for anybody that's like a hardcore raider,
Mhm.
just know that both the devs holiday and your holiday have been preserved. So if you spend that time with family and you also like to raid at the top level and try to clear things as soon as they drop, that's a tough thing to balance depending on patch timing.
Oldenair says we Norwegians were social distancing even before Corona. Have you ever been and visited the Nordic countries, Chris?
No,
Absolutely stunning, beautiful, beautiful.
no.
Would totally recommend it.
My sister lives in Romania, and I studied abroad in Spain. And so, like, relative to that part of the world, I've seen the southern portion. The fact that I stayed well into the northern hemisphere.
Yeah.
And then I've been to China and South Korea. That is the preferred Korea for Americans to visit. Yeah. And I've been to the vast majority of American states. I think I've been to like 40 something. My wife and I tallied it up the other day because we have a different list, and we're like, we should just go knock out the ones we both haven't been to.
So they ask, do you have further plans on implementing features for GPOs to take screenshots? And then they go back to this picture. Freely explore dungeons you've previously completed.
This is why the duty recorder got dropped. It's like, we'll just let you in there. Oh, FS Asher's finally, I don't have to play all of New Game Plus for one clip that I need for my next video.
Yeah. Oh man, this is big. I think this is actually going to be really nice.
This is huge. That's a big change. It's a big change in what it means is capable.
Yeah.
You'll start with dungeons added in the 5.x series.
And
more will be added in the future. I wonder. So I wonder if that tech is tied to the trust.
I wonder.
By starting with that set of dungeons, it seems like, okay, we've made these dungeons able to be queued into by a single player. So interesting. Or maybe they just built those dungeons differently, knowing that this was coming. And they said that the new 5.4 dungeon will support it as well, which makes sense. Right. No enemies will appear, and all obstacles will be cleared. I can't take pictures with enemies?
It'd be so neat. The next update is they allow you to spawn like bosses that aren't aggressive. And you're like, hey, take a picture with this boss.
Do a dance with you?
You know?
What?
G-pose with boss.
Oh, because alternatively, right now you have to just go into Duty Finder and you just have to spin your camera around and take selfies while your party keeps you alive.
I've often the thing that I would enjoy is that with these clear dungeons, it'd be so cool if you could actually go back in and farm and gather like from them for certain things. But this is obviously a different system altogether. But happy that we have this option.
Naruto, I believe in the description we have a link to the actual feed itself, and I believe we have a link to our Twitch. So I don't know which one you're asking for.
Yeah, it's all should be linked below.
But it should be.
Should be. I set it up last night. I was kind of tired.
In the doobly doo.
No, it doesn't sound like
dungeons. No, this is all G-pose. But that would really change it up. They could also put like books and stuff that we would have Because there's books to read in, is it a
Yeah,
Niner?
in the dungeon. Well, not
Um,
just a niter. Like it's like they have that. This actually would
yeah.
be nice because it's like, all right, I'll come back for the lore. You know, like if there's
Yeah.
lore and stuff that they would hide in there or something like that. Like yeah, like you can go and at your own pace, give that a nice little read.
He said that earlier he got a lot of bug reports tied to this, so I guess this is one of the reasons they're only doing the 5.x. So that like in Aram Vale, you might die to standing in poison. So it's not perfect. You'll be able to use minions, mounts, fashion accessories like your favorite umbrella. You can place a dummy to be able to execute actions. So you can screen cap actions.
If you're getting a buffer on the stream, you might want to hit the Twitch link, top link, and go watch on Twitch and see if it has that same kind of buffer. YouTube's been acting a little weird right now. Just FYI.
Really powerful.
Yeah, the top link, we're on Twitch as well, so you guys can watch it on Twitch if you want. And so many Twitch follows. Thank you guys. And I'll be live Saturday with some
Before you
Genshin and who knows what else.
If you like the stream, feel free to hit like. We just crossed 300.
Whoa. Thank you.
303 likes. I don't know what the record is.
We had 600 likes at once. At one point, I think. I think the record is 600.
You're going to have to double like it.
Yeah, I would love to see G Poster Bard with the instruments. That'd be kind of cool.
Oh, so you queue up for it just like you do with Unsynced. So it's just a setting.
Nice. I think this is going to be really cool.
So you'll be able to cast a limit break. That's cool.
I want to see Summoner change for randomer.
I think Warrior should just be Fellcleaves.
Twitch is having the same buffer? What the heck?
Sounds like it's you, man.
Everything on the stream export right here looks good.
There'll be a button for you to pick between LB 1, 2, and 3. Cool. The duty recorder was something I was really excited about, and then they never fully supported. So
Right.
this feels like, or the duty recorder, excuse me. And so this feels like the next step in that, which is what I mean when I say like they start a feature and they never finish the thought. Is they tend to start a feature and then they didn't even like add things to the duty recorder. They changed which thing was able to be done with the duty recorder, and then all at once they were like, oh, and then we'll do this instead. And this is different because like you can't. This doesn't seem like you can go into there, and like record friends playing. So like it's not as powerful as the duty recorder in that aspect, but it's way more powerful in so many other aspects. Somebody saying refresh the page and it goes away. I'll refresh my page. Couldn't hurt. So until 5.4, it's going to be a fight with all the bugs. Yeah.
Fight them bugs. Yeah, see, I'd like Summer to get their real pets back. I don't like the change they made.
Yeah, Meltastic, it's very hard to get a house in 14. Has nothing to do with money. But I put out guides telling people how to make money anyway, because there's, maybe they want it for glamour or whatever, but I do try to warn people, like, it's actually what our next topic on the wheel is what is the use for Gil in this game?
Do you have any empty slots on the wheel?
I do.
All right, guys. If you guys have a suggestion for a topic that you want us to cover, sound off in chat right now.
Too. I have a pen.
Oh, so many of you guys are following on Twitch. Thank you so much for that.
Is Twitch getting the buffer too?
Somebody said it was.
Maybe it's
Jay
your
says
browser.
they gave up housing.
Do you have other tabs open?
I closed a lot of stuff just in case, but like processing wise, everything on my every stat it shows me looks
Which
like
browser
it's
are you
fine.
using?
I'm using the Chrome, but I'm not having any buffer, so it's on the
Oh.
streaming outwards and stuff.
All right. No, they're not changing limit break. This is basically a fancy version of GPOs to be able to take GPOs into dungeons, Shadowbringers dungeons, and you'll be able to kind of cast abilities and run around on mounts and minions and stuff inside the dungeon. So you'll be able to kind of see them all.
Yeah, they're saying Twitch is good. That YouTube, it must be a YouTube thing. So all right.
YouTube.
YouTube.
333 likes. We're feeding the likes, YouTube. Get it together. Get it together.
It's like, jump on.
Well, that's exciting. I wasn't sure what this interview would yield, but that's a big feature.
Yeah. Ooh, JRPG game design versus Western RPG game design as a topic. Do you have any strong opinions? Because I would say I prefer JRPGs over Western RPGs. But then again, I'm now just playing Baldur's Gate 3 and kind of like feeling like
I think it's more of a question in my mind of like how much grind is the right amount of grind?
Mm-hmm.
Because like you don't want to just blast through a game,
right?
But grind for the sake of grind can really sap the motivation.
And Slathers, thanks for that tier 1 sub over on Twitch. Really appreciate that support.
Yeah. Can you elaborate?
Yeah.
That topic would make us argue with each other for 20 minutes. I mean, I think Brian's definitely drawn to the JRPG side, which the JRPG side, like the one thing the grind does do is it gives a constant source of progression.
Mm-hmm.
In trade for being very grindy, it doesn't always just put itself at like 14 versus WoW, for example. A lot of WoW goals are kind of self-imposed, as opposed to like I feel in 14 like I can feel my character progress every time I log in,
Mm-hmm.
and in WoW I don't always feel that. So my motivation has to come from something different. That might just be how I play those two games, but like they both have a lot of the same stuff, and like I feel different in there. Yeah, so they're having lots of buffer issues.
On YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, YouTube has been making a lot of changes behind the scenes. I would venture to bet this could be a YouTube problem.
If Twitch isn't having it, then yes.
Well, I'm telling you, like YouTube's been pushing a bunch of updates, so it's like you can. I always kind of get a feel for it's like, oh, this is acting weird. YouTube's doing some background work, and new features will come, but there'll be some growing pains. And asphyxiation, thanks for that Prime sub over here on Twitch. Really appreciate that. So Gads Jones says, I don't play into collection metas. I prefer skill-based accomplishments over random rewards. Is that like a subject topic, or because that's an interesting thought?
I mean, I think that's more of what I picture the difference between JRPGs and more Western games is like extrinsic versus intrinsic rewards.
Yeah.
Extrinsic like external, intrinsic meaning internal. So like an internal reward. So if you think of games like Fortnite, for example, the intrinsic reward are the people that play it for hours on end, just to get better at it and like just to enjoy it. The extrinsic rewards are things that are tied more to like the battle pass. So games have both, and so that's more of things like costumes and things like that. And so in 14, like it's one of the issues with like relic grinds is like allowing 71s to gain experience in there means that like even if you're not that excited about an additional relic, you may be in there for experience. So they're adding more extrinsic rewards. The intrinsic rewards are whether or not it's fun or whether or not you can improve at it. And that's something that they can't go over in a live letter. That's more of an internal choice.
Thank you, Real Kitty Hawk, for tier 3 sub for 15 months in a row. Thank you, Joe, for a Prime sub over here on Twitch. Luigi asked if we know that Lucron got his account hacked and suspended. Yes, I actually have been talking with him behind the scenes and seeing if he's okay and things like that. And then, I was just like, if you want to, like, I know he made a video on it. I was like, if you want to come on and talk about it, I'm happy to. I have so many questions and things like that. So, yeah. That's really.
I'm going to call that Why Do We Play?
Why Do We Play? That's a good one.
So when that comes back around, anytime between next week and infinity. Thank you.
Next week and infinity.
You'd like to know how many hours a week you consider to be the minimum to be worth your monthly sub. So Brian and I follow $1 per hour theory. And that is $1, and that is an hour of joy, not an hour of gameplay. So I need to feel that there's 15 hours of my week that are brightened by playing 14 on average to be worth it. That could mean 20 hours 1 month and just 10 the next, because this is a cyclical game. I'm not going to turn it on and off based on like that exact month. But across the whole year, I on average do get kind of at least 15 hours of joy out of it. Brian doesn't have to get as many hours because he pays less because he's a legacy player.
We just crossed over 6,000 followers on Twitch, guys, through all y'all's hitting that follow button. Posture check redeemed. Thank you, guys.
Class mounts is an idea.
Yeah, class mounts is a great topic.
Are you guys frustrated that there's things that are class locked, where like you can't equip all gear, you can't not every mount has a class mount? Does that bother you guys? I mean, it really in my mind becomes a question of like player agency and player choice. Like, $2.99 Slaughterama. That's an aggressive name for what you're asking for. Final Fantasy 14 waifu tier list. Go.
Let's do it. Put it on the board. I'm not joking. It should be there. I will rate waifus. I was talking with Larry about it. I was like, do you want to help me do a waifu tier list for Genshin Impact? Because if it's just me, it just feels creepy. Yeah. One dude rating anime women.
Two married men staring at anime chicks that are
feels a little bit better. Maybe we'll invite Zan to help, with that, and we'll maybe do some husbandos or something like that.
She spent like half her stream yesterday making sexy characters.
Yeah. She likes the what she calls slutmog, right? Or something like that. Is a term that I never heard before.
That's a WoW term.
Yeah.
It's a WoW term. That's what like the Saltstone set is. Saltstone set is it's a set that people go farm up for their equivalent of glamour that it's the sluttiest plate armor you can have.
Yeah.
So for like tanks and stuff.
Chat's also saying like husbando as well. So it's like, yeah, not just we will be equal opportunity offensive.
I mean, Mary screw kill, like
I call it.
You gotta stop talking.
I call it. I was saying like rather than like that like I say you could say Mary like kiss Mary I forget or something like that. It's like, all right, I forgot about.
We're gonna call this the stream square. We're gonna leave that on there.
Yeah.
And so when this gets used, you guys are gonna have 2 squares. This one and the other one. So these will be fed by you guys. Just come watch us stream. I'll give you the opposite one.
So I'm gonna try to get on tonight. So there is a work to game community night tonight for some bird farming. I am going to try to be there. Global. I don't yet know. It just depends because kids got me up at 3, so I have not got much sleep. If I can hack it, I will be there because I definitely need a couple more of these birds.
Just marry them all.
Kiss, marry, avoid is the friendly version. And Little Moxie says, "Marry, screw, kill is dumb. Just marry them all."
The Twitch link should be in the description below. It's work to game with the number 2.
Yeah, it's the top link on YouTube. Like right under the, like if you look right under the window, the first link should be Twitch.
Should always be there. Where'd my Discord go? Discord is such a resource hog. My whole machine runs worse when Discord's open. Yeah. So what is your favorite UI feature implemented so far? The background music master volume text commands. Sweet. I didn't know you could do that. /BGM50 /BGM30.
I think that's relatively recent.
I think it would be very sweet if we could see whether an attack is physical or magical in a pop-up window. Yeah, and then we could see like how much that attack did, and then like how much it did relative to the time that passed, and then we could see how much damage the whole class did relative to the time that passed, as some sort of like meter that tracked like my DPS. If we wanted, we could probably do it. We know you can do it.
They say check to make sure your hardware acceleration isn't on in Discord. I think it's a setting.
Okay.
And Espiteru, thanks for that Prime sub over on Twitch. Supporting my diaper fund.
Just like every time they updated Discord to be more powerful this year, it just is like, I will take 40% more resources and be 5% better on a feature you don't care about.
Yeah, Chaos says maybe the color of the bar could tell you if it's magical or physical. Like especially when it has that kind of charge up. Like that would be really good to know. Because I am always just like, if I don't know, I'm just like, I'll just burn both cooldowns because I'm not doing Savage. But Savage, I guess that's part of memorization is the damage type. Hug, marry, shrug.
So they said the reason they don't implement something like that is that battle changes will often be worked on up until days before a patch. And so it would delay development because you would have to have the QA team kind of verifying all that. In patch 5.3, your own debuffs applied to a target got priority. Can you add this to focus target as well?
The Mike asked, am I still hooked on Genshin? Yes, actually, I'm going to be playing some Genshin Saturday morning, this Saturday morning, and then some more 14. Going to continue on my getting Dancer to cap. I think I'm 76 or 77 on Dancer, so I'm almost done with Dancer, and then I'll have Bard, and that will be what I take through Boshin.
Where do I see hardware?
I don't know.
Hardware acceleration. Turn that off. Yeah.
If you haven't seen my video yesterday, I am so thrilled for Outlanders because it's cross-play, full cross-play, day 1. February 2nd, guys. I really hope they knock it out of the park, but at the same time, I hope there's not a lot of hype behind the game, because if the game is great and everybody's just like, I'll wait and see, and then it comes out and everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's great, like that ends up even being more exciting as opposed to like, oh, this game's gonna change my life, and then it's like, it's okay.
Yeah, so Brian's streaming both to YouTube and Twitch right now. He's pushing it out to both. And like, so if you're getting issues on YouTube, feel free to jump over to Twitch. Link should be in the description below. Thank you for the 355 likes on YouTube.
Okay, cool. I turned that off as well. See if that helps. These at 350 likes?
355.
Oh man, you guys are awesome. Thank you.
全部に対して手を入れていかなきゃいけないっていうのを、まあ、すでにやってはいますけど、結構大変かな。
We could add more features, but there's a high risk that it would completely break everything. Then the next request is going to be for allow the party list to be split, etc. Keeping this intact on all platforms is also very difficult.
So this is one of the areas where I think that World of Warcraft's decision to have an API that can support add-ons and then just restrict what add-ons are allowed to do has given them a huge advantage, because all of these requests are super niche specific, right? Like, I want this thing for me, and 5% of the population agrees with me, and everybody else either wouldn't care or actively wouldn't use it. And so you can have basically all these, as far as Blizzard's concerned, unpaid devs. Many of them get community support, but Blizzard doesn't pay them, and they do all this. And then when something becomes widespread, you'll see an add-on that has, 10 million, 20 million downloads. Then Blizzard can go, okay, 20 million players are using this. We don't even have that many people actively playing every month. Maybe we should go take a look at what this add-on's doing and see if we can build that in a little more native. If that app developer is like getting support, that's kind of a bummer because it takes away from them. You see the same issue with like Apple absorbing apps like the flashlight and stuff, but it does make the game better. It makes the add-on run more efficient than it could ever run as an add-on. And so it's a neat feedback mechanism where in the meantime we can have everything we need from players. So there's add-ons in WoW like Move Anything, and it allows you to basically break your UI.
Yeah.
And if that causes something to crash, then that's on you. They don't have to deal with that.
Right, because they're not ensuring that it's going to be stable.
Because some add-ons to break those things apart do make WoW heavier on your machine. So it is up to your machine whether or not that causes lag. As opposed to like Blizzard wouldn't want to add anything that adds lag to their min spec machines.
Dancer is amazing.
Brian, have you heard of this game Outlanders? You gonna play it?
Yes. So yeah, I've been posting about it on Ginger Prime for a while now.
You're excited.
And so it's got 4 classes. The classes look phenomenal. And the fact that it's got, like, honestly, I think one of the biggest weaknesses of Avengers is its lack of crossplay. And so I think what they're probably looking at is just the drop off in players and having matchmaking issues for Avengers right now and saying, wait a minute, like, let's launch with this, and I bet you'll end up having a better game. Plus, people can fly incredible dev studio. Like, you got the pedigree of Square Enix, and you got people who can fly. And I think people are going to be surprised and excited by the game. But we'll find out. I was not invited to go play it. Others were, and I looked on the sidelines, and I was like, this looks great.
People are asking for more steps when scaling UI parts, because right now you kind of have to choose, I think it's like 20% intervals. So they're saying it's like, could you put something between 60 and 80? Like 70.
I totally understand $20 about the in-game voice chat. I know Yoshi P's talked about that before, and I just don't think that's just something he says he doesn't want to have built in. But I think laws are requiring some of it now. So I think that they're grandfathered in, but I think if they ever do another MMO, like, it will have to have some voice to text option and text to voice option from an accessibility to meet the laws of that has changed.
I was pulling their in-game voice chat down during pre-patch. They said it's temporary, but like it's actually being removed from game.
Eddie, that's why like Genshin has me so excited for Blue Protocol, and that's another game I've been following. And I've actually it's so funny. Blue Protocol, it feels like they're taking the playbook from 14 and PSO2. And so I've been covering their live letters as well. And yeah, it's pretty like they haven't had anyone in a while, but as they've been doing their updates, I've been covering those, and I'm personally very excited for that.
So the UI guy basically is like kind of dodging a question. Yoshi stepped in and said like he can't say this, probably because he's not authorized to say it, but they are aware that 4K and 8K is a thing.
Yeah.
And so they're already beginning work on higher resolution UIs. Like they have to work on that. It makes sense to me that like instead of jumping up to a 4K game for PS5, that they would go ahead and just build 8K assets and then downsample accordingly.
Right. Like, hey, by the way, if you're planning on your game being, like being relevant in 5 years, like here's the roadmap. Hey, Leyland, what's up, dude? Yeah, today my goal is to clean up my hard drive so I can install WoW, and I'm gonna get my characters created. So, and then on Tuesday, well, after I get tired of Boja. On Tuesday, I'll go play around with the controller support and pre-patch on WoW.
Weird UI choice. So I have our Twitch stream up.
Yeah.
As us, and it has the follow button, but then we're not followed. And then when I click it, it says you're unable to follow. Then why show me the button?
I know. Well, it's like Blue Protocol is going to be a free-to-play MMO RPG as well. So I think as long as the monetization is balanced and fair, gamers don't have a problem with supporting. And I think they probably I wonder if studies show you they actually get more support if they're less if it's less aggressive. I don't know though. Like we'll have to wait and see.
I think as zones have gotten bigger, as hardware's gotten better. They just haven't gone back and fixed old zones. And so because the game was designed with borders between zones at the start, we've kind of gotten stuck with that. Royal Mist, this is translated live by some members of the community over on the Reddit Discord. And so we watch that, and then we kind of comment on all this and kind of explain anything that maybe they don't say because they just make a statement, but they don't have like the context. So we kind of sit here and have this conversation, and then we translate with them. But like in the interviews, we're getting questions and answers translated, and they're coming through as big blocks. This is the UI guy, so like not all of it's as moving. We did find out about like a big G pose change. See, I just got a buffer on Twitch. So yeah, we're getting G pose will be able to go into dungeons. That's the big change here, but like otherwise the first half was the big half.
Yeah. And so Nexion is developing Final Fantasy XI R, but that's also in collaboration with Square Enix, and this is a numbered Final Fantasy. So I understand the fear of like, oh, it's going to be horribly monetized, but at the end of the day, it's still a Final Fantasy game, and Square Enix has gacha games, but at the end of it, like I doubt they're gonna come in with a numbered Final Fantasy and say, oh yeah, by the way, but yeah. I think that you do have to adjust for the business model of the time, and for anybody who's like a never MTX kind of gamer, they're gonna have a bad decade. Like there's just no way around it. You're going to see more free to play over the next decade. You're going to see more move into bigger, broader subscriptions, which actually I think is going to be the real win. So when you talk about like, I could see that Square Enix could have a Square Enix subscription, and then that might be a channel on the Luma streaming platform. That could be something within Stadia. That could be something within Game Pass. It could be like they could have another way to monetize that. So I think that's where you're going to see the next decade go, and then you're going to see MTX. And there's if you're never MTX, like enjoy the last decade of gaming.
Speaking of maps, being able to fly in ARR maps has been a gift I didn't know I needed. Nice.
It was a gift that I was like, oh, this will be nice, and then it's like, oh, this is really nice. This is really nice. If I still had Beastman Tribes quest to do, that'd be even better, you know. And so my advice to anybody who's new, honestly, the first thing to do is to like stick with one job, unlock flying, and then do whatever the hell you want, because then you're gonna have way more flexibility and freedom.
Yeah. Yeah, leveling with flying is so nice.
Mm-hmm.
He was asked what one game he loved the UI of, and he said Persona 5. And Yoshi agreed.
That'd be an interesting collab. You know, when people were asking about earlier collabs, it's like Persona is collab with PSO2. You know, it'd be kind of neat to be like, and by the way,
will they do another Final Fantasy MMO or
yes,
just carry on with 14?
There's already there's already a 15 MMO, Final Fantasy 15 MMO in the works. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so like as for other MMOs, like there will be others, but like I think 14 will just carry on for a while. I don't really think that. So like we're about to hear about 6.0. I think there will be a 7.0. Quite likely, but there's definitely a 6.0. So like I'm not too worried about it. If it goes away after that, that's far enough out that I would keep playing even if it was going away. Brian feels at some point that they need to just totally rebuild from the ground up and move into a new one.
It's either a new one or it's a 14.2. Like,
or it's a, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like if the nature of the story itself, it serves its almost like as an epic, you know, like if you think of like chapter 1, chapter 2, but it's like a chapter is Lord of the Rings, and then another chapter is the Silmarillion, you know, like, or like the Hobbit. So it's like there are these epic moments, and then there's time that passes. At some point, it's cruel to ask a new player to commit 1,000 hours of story just to be caught up. It's cruel.
I think there's examples of how to do that differently, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So, yes, this is 14.2 already, so it'd be 14.3. So they there's already examples. So like you could move to like a Destiny model where each story is kind of self-contained, and then ties back. You could move to like a Genesis model where you basically have PSO2 Genesis, which we'll have to see how that plays out. Where you have like 2 games within a game.
Mm-hmm.
You could kind of go like the World of Warcraft route where you continue to do expansions, but then you basically put old versions of zones within like a time walking state where you can go talk to an NPC and be teleported back to how the zone was, or you can play in it current so you can revisit things. There's a lot of ways they could do it. I think they're very good at watching other games and seeing what they think works and what doesn't, and how it would better fit for them, because they don't just direct copy things, but they do say, okay, like I liked that. How would we do that for us? So either way, like we have at least 6.0 in front of us. And then they would have the ability to say, like, here's what we think. That would give them time, probably still moving to 7.0 as normal, even if that's the last one.
So they could continue on. Well, I mean, they could still continue on supporting 14
they could,
as it's
11
like
still.
You know, 11 still around, and that's where it's like when you look at a Square Enix sub. That's when you look at, like, I think if you get to the idea of a universal friends list, if you get to like almost the battle.net model, it's like, like you can play any of these games and your friends can see you. You can be like, oh, let me jump in. We're going to go farm birds. Like, oh yeah, I'll come play. Like it gives you that ability to kind of just break down these walls between these game worlds and things like that and experience kind of this more universe. But I think that there will be a new MMO, like a kind of a brand new MMO from them at some point in the future. And I think they deserve that. You know, I think
they don't need to take the risk though. Like there's so many new ways to handle
transition
what you do when there's old content, and also how to do new things like Ashes of Creation and stuff coming on board. So like if it were me, like you're doing great, people adore you, keep doing what you're doing, and let somebody who has to take a bigger risk to make their mark come in and take the risk, and then if they're having success, say, okay, what part of that do I want to learn from and move on?
Yeah. It's so hard to transition a community from one game to the next. In fact, originally when they were looking at 11, part of their and they're thinking about just putting 14 on the board. They were even thinking of making the portal to 14 the Mog House in 11. So they were originally even thinking like, hey, it's going to be hard to say let's take this community and move them into a brand new game. And so that's been, and that proves to be a challenge. And we see that on YouTube and Twitch, right? Like we're here. You have the link. A lot of you guys are following. But even if we're in videos and we've learned that it's like, we have to constantly like, and I don't like it. But that's why when, people say, oh, it's annoying when you say like, sub, share. I hear you, but the numbers reflect that the more that we remind people of whatever else is going on, that's what actually gets that action to happen. Otherwise, I get
everyone likes. Speaking of,
I get so many people coming over and finding Ginger Prime. They're like, "Oh, you never told me about this." I go, "There's a reason for that. There's a reason why I wasn't like Ginger. It's like because it does. I don't want a follow if you're not interested in what I'm trying to make over there. And so there's all kinds of things in that regards. Major Pain with a sub, a tier 1 sub. Thank you for that Twitch sub. Appreciate that. Yeah, and like we pushed hard on Game Club because we had the watch time. We just didn't have the sub count. So we're just
getting over an imaginary line that YouTube set.
Yeah.
Had there not been an imaginary line, then we would have just let it continue to grow organically. But because they said you must be this tall to ride this ride, and we were so close, we did ask you guys at that point. But then we won't continue to beg people to subscribe for us.
Mm-hmm.
Subscribe at the content you want to watch.
Yeah, exactly. A Realm Reborn.
It was awesome to help us just blast right through that.
I think that let's say they
take a couple weeks.
Let's say they did a 14.2 or a 14.3 or whatever you want to call it. Like that gives them an opportunity to tell the news story in with some shared connection, but then they could change up how that game is. If they wanted to make an action RPG, MMO or something, they could do that with that kind of cutover, as opposed to like all of a sudden R14 becomes an action RPG. Because you're not going to go, if you need, let's say you wanted to make a party size of 5 people, like they're not going to do that within the existing game because the amount of work and things that have to happen. Just him talking about the UI, like if we were to split that out, like it could crash and break everything in the game. It's like, okay, well, what if you were looking at this from a ground up perspective? What would you do? So,
can you show in an easier way what minions we have already obtained when potentially buying them? So in terms of if we could implement it, this is actually something we cannot. There is one way of doing a similar thing. We could save it as local data on your machine. It could potentially work, but we have so many items in Final Fantasy XIV right now, it's too much.
Mm-hmm.
It's just back to spaghetti code because like other games already have this feature. So it's just frustrating when you hear that their code won't allow for it because you think it's like, well, other people can do it, just fix it. And that's just not where they're at. Can you implement a feature to show a job icon next to a player name? And they both said, oh, I really want that feature.
That'd be nice.
So we heard what they're planning with Path of Exile 2. No, I haven't. I haven't followed what they're doing with Path of Exile 2 relating to Path of Exile 1.
That'd be good to know, because if they're doing some kind of a upgrade or some kind of connection, it's just more examples of people doing different things, and you can kind of look at and choose and say, hey, this really worked and this could have been done better. And because Destiny, a lot of people are frustrated with Destiny because Destiny Beyond Light, it's a whole new client. Like it's Destiny 3 without it being called Destiny 3. So like literally your version of Destiny 2 will need to be uninstalled, and you'll download and install Destiny Beyond Light. So it's like, okay.
That's a better way of doing it than how they did Destiny 2 though.
I agree, because I don't lose all my guns. Like I had no interest in PvE content until they announced the new roadmap, because I was like, all right, I'll just PvP because I like PvP. And then it's like, oh wait, cool. Like we're not all going into Destiny 3 and all my stuff's gone. Okay, great. I'm back. I'll go grind out those guns. Yeah, it looks like you won something. I don't know if you accepted a duel. Yeah, like as your avatars for our Twitch subs, like you get your little avatar and then you can do duels and slot machines and stuff. I think it rewards you points, but I don't think we have anything that you can redeem those points for.
It's kind of how I feel about Gil.
Name any creature that we might face in the next Savage Raid tier. We've already done the
Savannah
primals.
Bunny, thank you for the Prime sub.
Oh, thank you, Savannah.
We know you guys only get one. We appreciate when you choose to use it here. Yeah, so they're talking about how the nameplate has actually been one of the more difficult parts when making it, and so like it sounds like this would be a rework, but I mean, yeah, it makes sense. That's a pretty hard part. I can tell you, like when screwing with my own UI in WoW with all the add-ons and stuff, like I have trouble deciding what I want, and like I have add-ons that let me do literally anything I want with it, and I still have trouble deciding what is best.
Mm-hmm. So you're going to really enjoy Beyond Light then, because with at least the Stasis subclass, they are giving you so much more flexibility, and you have fragments and you have like aspects that you can attach and equip, and they're going to have positive and negative effects. So it's really going way more customization. I don't think that's going to apply to the existing 3 subclasses, but you'll end up having more options with Stasis. And I think they said that they're going to test this out, make sure that it's good and people like it, and then that'll probably go to the other subclasses as well, which I honestly think that's the best way to go about it. The whole bottom, middle, top tier trees things it was so boring.
Thanks for hitting like, Nocturion. Yeah, I think it's just a simple thing of reminding people. Like I don't always remember the like button's there, and sometimes I click off of a video on YouTube, like when I'm watching videos, and I'm like, I really liked that video earlier. And my wife's like, did you hit like? And I was like, no. And like it's so hard to go back, and so you have to go back, and then it like starts to play the ad, and it's just no. I just want to like Pandora this, where it's like I want a thumbs up, thumbs down as like a way of like steering the algorithm. And I always think of it. And there's other times that like I don't like a video and I don't hit dislike. I just like click off the app.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Likes are such a weird thing, like what it means, and what it means for the algorithm and all of that.
It's banded. It's changing on November the 10th. So just keep that in mind. Beyond Light drops on November 10th. And there will be streams of it with this guy, because I love Destiny. Yeah, they're going to let you go into old dungeons, good fella. So you're going to be able to go explore old dungeons without enemies and things like that for screenshots, if that's what your thing is. Story, we're getting a new type of Baldies and Arsenal content. They're talking about UI stuff now. Honestly, 5.4 looks like it's shaping up to be pretty good, and mostly of the start of the stream was more focusing on 5.3.5, the front lines, kind of summarizing that, and that's going to drop on Tuesday. And then they said that 5.4 is targeting early December. So they could announce a delay, but they said no. And Final Fantasy 14 will work on PS5, but it's not a PS5 version. It's going to be a backwards compatible version, so you're going to get all the PS Pro features.
So the next question was, when discarding items, can you let me throw away more than one at once? Do a GOG be required? No. Like, absolutely no. Since they're all handled server side, if we did this, it would lead to errors and high load on the servers.
Mm-hmm.
He was very clear.
Are they adding a blue theme?
Nope.
Because they have the light and the dark theme. Are they adding a blue
so
theme?
Are you any plans for adding more themes? And the response is, let me show you one.
Yes, that's my theme. I'm not joking. I'm legit excited for that. Oh, thank the Lord in heaven. All right. Oh, man. I was like, yes. Yeah, chat's like, meh, Brian, you're an idiot. It's like, all right. No, I'm legit.
Thanks for hitting those follow and subscribe guys buttons, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Just got a couple of them.
Yeah. Cassie Blue. Finally, the classic Final Fantasy theme. Dude, yeah, that's my theme. I was like, once they introduced the light theme and they had the dark and the light, I was like, all right, where's the real, like, let's go. I'm ready for my my classic 14 theme.
We do have a work to game Discord, Major Payne.
In fact, as a subscriber, you get a special role.
Yeah. So the link on YouTube should be down in the description, and the link on Twitch.
It should also show up in your YouTube under your connections if you've got your Twitch and your Discord link because of your sub. So you could join our server and things like that, and you'll get special roles and stuff.
I don't see it on the Twitch side of things. Where do I get to that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't looked.
We'll click on any one of our YouTube videos, and it should be in the description.
Yeah.
そうですね。なんか
Oh,
what
good.
did
He
we
just
talk
got
about last
it. Yeah.
We did a community feedback.
Mm-hmm.
It was a long one.
It was a long episode. Lots of comments, guys. Honestly, if you're really looking for something to watch after this, like that's gonna be it. You're gonna get some really good discussion.
One of our longer ones. Community feedbacks always will probably be on that kind of more 30-minute, 40-minute versus that 10, 20-minute time frame. Just because like to get them down to 10 minutes, the simple way to do it is to only respond to like 3 or 4 comments.
Yeah, I like the more comments. I think
And
even the feedback we get is people
That it
want
doesn't
more
feel like
comments. Right. And we got a couple of Prime subs. Itacus and Flamewing, thank you guys so much for supporting the Diaper Fund with those Prime subs. Appreciate it. We know you have a choice in who you can Prime sub to, so I appreciate you doing that. And then guys, hopefully you tune in on Saturday if you're free, and then I'll be live on Monday and Monday morning early, but Tuesday I'm taking the day off work and I'm going to start like at 8, like a normal hour, and I'm going to stream until I can't stream no more.
でもともとは全部がそのルーレットが少ない時代に他の項目とセットで並ぶから
Damn, this thing looks awesome, dudes. I love also kind of the text changes. At least some of the images look a little bit more pixelated.
させてみましたっていうのがいや本当日本言語で遊んでくれてる方々
Yeah, we're gonna try to keep our normal like discussions to that 20 minutes. We feel like that's a good a good discussion, and then like community feedback will be the longer one, and the podcast will be the longest one. But we're still trying to get that schedule, figuring out when that's gonna happen.
Getting our 2 schedules to line up is its own problem that we solve regularly. Getting that to line up with another creator, especially when many creators, the vast majority of creators are not only not in our time zone, but are many time zones away. You know, some of them like Xandri are 1 time zone away, Happy's 2 time zones away. But as you start to get into people that live in Europe or Australia or anything like that, it gets pretty far pretty fast. I think they'll do a launcher theme choice. I don't think so, but I wouldn't mind it.
I wouldn't mind it either.
I think at some point they'll need to, like as we talk about like 14.2 and all that, I think at some point if they do move to like a Square Enix subscription, they'll have to move to like a Square Enix launcher, and at that point having themes and stuff and having that be a more centralized place like the Battle.net launcher, where there is a store there and there is all that. I think that's the point where like a theme makes sense in the settings to at least light theme and dark theme it. Lasts almost your entire commute.
なんか唐突に消えるんだけどみたいなのが発生してしまって分類分けがうまくできればできるかもしれないんですけど、なるほど。なかなかちょっとそういうのもあって厳しいかな。いいじゃないかな。
Hearing impaired mode from PC to PS4. They've been really good about supporting most features across like all platforms. It's one of the things that they were afraid of moving to Xbox to for a long time.
Right.
So I would assume if they can, they will. When will we be able to choose battle actions and G pose the same way we can choose emotes when posing? So I think that's what they're adding. So you're gonna have you're gonna be able to go into any dungeon and mount up or pull out minions. You're gonna be able to use the limit breaks. So I don't know if it'll be exactly what you're asking for, but the new G pose stuff they showed off like I don't know, like an hour ago, might actually be exactly what you're asking for.
Right.
So when the answer would be sometime during 5.4, whenever that stuff gets added. So 5.4 will begin in early December. 5.4.1 will be in January, so that'll kind of trickle out over early next year. launcher theme choice is in XL plugins.
確かに言ってるんです。そうなんだよね。入ってる。
You just wish Destiny was crossplay? You like
2021.
cross save, but okay.
Destiny's going crossplay 2021 with the Witch Queen expansion. So
Sweet.
we're not much longer to wait. It's good. I think that's going to be massive for Destiny.
消せてしまうとあれか。倒せてなかったとしても。これ本当ですか？になっちゃう。そうそうそう。ああ、なるほど。
Yeah, I'm in PvP. I always want people on as similar of hardware as possible. I understand that PC, that's an unregulated space, and that's one of my issues with PC PvP. What I like about consoles, so that's where I draw the line. Is like, but we'll be going into Call of Duty in November with our friend group that we play on one night a week with like my brothers and Brian's brother, and so there's a handful of us, and we'll be going into Call of Duty, and that'll be our first time to be in cross-play lobbies, and so maybe that'll either confirm what I don't like when all of a sudden aim hack is a thing that I have to worry about and people having more frame rate and stuff, or I'll realize it's not that big of a deal and I'll get over it.
And I believe
WoW adding controller support for pre-patch, I believe it's coming out on Tuesday with everything else. I didn't see it in the pre-patch notes, so it is possible no. The pre-patch notes said nothing about controller support for or against. They centered on like how the level squish is going to work and how, as a result of the level squish, all the changes to the way like things like experience on heirlooms, experience on experience potions from WoD, rep boosts from things like the Pandaria choosing your champion, how all of that works. I didn't see anything that talked about controller support.
Right. I'm going to be testing it out, and so if it has it, I'll be letting you guys know my thoughts on the controller support for WoW, and then also I probably will check out Chili's, who drops the console port mod. So I'll also play around with that and see if there's, you know, it like here's the native, and then if is it still needing to be mod to kind of get that true feel. Well, wait, I'll have to let you guys know.
The problem with the mods is that they're kind of just making it function. They're kind of just mapping it for you as opposed to the game actually being designed to think about it. So I think controller support is exciting because even if their controller support doesn't feel good to you, WoW has proved that like once they build a base feature and they open it up to the API, the mod developers can take it the last 10%. So, you know, for anybody that wants it to feel like exactly like 14, I think Chili said his add-on already did like kind of the cross hotbar type style. If you had controller support, that would be, you could have exactly cross hotbar, or you could have it function exactly like Destiny, or you could have it function. So like there will be mods out there that will take it more towards a layout that makes sense. A $10 game club, Danger Shoes.
Danger Shoes.
Somebody
dude.
woke up feeling dangerous.
Thank you so much for that support. Oh my gosh. Enjoy your emotes. Also, members can drop emotes on our comments now. So I'm really thrilled by that. So if you guys are part of our members club, we really appreciate y'all's support. And hopefully on videos, we get to see you guys drop those comments so we can, I've been trying to anytime I see those emotes now, I'm like, dude, you're amazing. Trying to, you know, just really thank you guys for y'all's support.
Can we hide the exits to dungeons in G-Pose? They said the way those are currently implemented, it might be possible, but it'd be difficult and time consuming. I personally enjoy having those objects. It proves that I cleared the content, but maybe I'm the only one that thinks this. They have 2 to 3 more questions, guys. I sometimes want to decide what the party members use as emotes when I G-Pose. I don't mind if it would be like the replay recording feature where they have to agree to it, but can you implement this so I can pick their emotes? That Yoshi said no, they're not going to do that. That's his policy. I understand how it might be useful, making the experience too much of an instance. I don't think that's where I want to go as a game director. When screenshotting battle actions, I have trouble pausing at the right timing. Can you implement a scroll bar like feature that will make it easier? And that's what he's answering right now.
And where can you watch this in English, Julian? Right here. The
right
link,
here.
if you want to go watch this in Japanese, is in the description.
Yeah. Thanks for all the follows, guys, and subscribes. We're up to 390 likes with 2 to 3 questions to go. If you guys could get to 400, that'd be crazy.
And we crossed over 6,000 followers on Twitch. Now we're at 6,028. You guys are legendary.
Are we down to like 10 Game Club people? to get emotes?
What's the
Close.
dashboard say? Because we were at 17.
Dashboard says 12.
Okay, so then we would be at
5?
No, we'd still
Right.
no. It's not counting from 0. It was at 17 when we had 8. So it's like we're still like 15 away, something like that.
13.
13.
Cool.
The Grim, thanks for that follow. Random question open to everyone. What legacy gear sets would you like added from the Glam, etc.? Personally, I like to see more for Final Fantasy IV themed stuff, especially for my Paladin. Still surprised we don't have a glamour weapon version of the Buster Sword or the Brotherhood Sword from the game. I think 4 or 6 would be where I would like to see more glamours, personally, because those are the Final Fantasies that mean more to me from a nostalgic perspective. Chris, you were about to say something?
I think I just want more seasonal events. I like stuff that's totally different. As far as glamours, I think they add a lot of visual variety to the game. They can be very distracting within quests. So for people that like immersion, I get why they don't like things like a metallic blue pig, but it brings a lot of joy to my life.
All right,
so his answer to the
on
battle
Twitch,
actions, which
just making
one of
me
you
do
did
this.
ask about. He said we're working on a slow motion feature right now. They're running into a lot of problems with it, so it's on hold. But there are moments that might make a screenshot look very unfavorable in terms of rating, so we can't make it too easy. They're already fighting a very close battle with the cutscenes, like an E8S. And one more question, please tell us about upcoming features for G-Pose. Yeah, people can definitely take this game and make it struggle with the rating system. Oh, I didn't even see the squats. That is first thing? I'll do some squats.
Yeah, the when they
After
do
he's done.
point redemption, it doesn't show. All right, 5 more.
How many of you had to do?
20 right now.
Hector, chat's quiet. Well, so some of you are over on, there's like 187 of you over on Twitch, and then there's 586 of you here on YouTube. The YouTube side, I know, like, seemed a little bit busier in chat when we started. We've been live for like 2 hours and 40 minutes. So
I think also their YouTube was having some buffering issues, so some people I think were on YouTube and moved over to Twitch. Thanks for the squats, guys.
how many you at? 31 squats? 21 squats?
It was 25. I thought.
25.
Sorry, I did that. Posture check.
I don't have wireless headphones.
I didn't have them on either, so I was just listening from the audio. Sometimes the couple hundred hours, 300 is what I hear. Yeah, 5-4 is in early December. Ooh, excuse me. Not on water. I have to get some water when this wraps up.
まあ、ヨシピー散歩ってキャラが全ワールドにいるので、まあ、大体土日の夜中どっちかまあ、霊式要素とかに行ってるんですよ。
Oh, it's good. It gets my heart rate up.
なんか寝る前に一発一周しましょうみたいなやつに入ることはあるけど、基本的に時間があるときはクリア目的ですみたいなやつに入るんですよ。はいはい。
He says, so regarding the features, to be completely honest, we're running out of ideas. We have a few in the early stage, but nothing that we can talk about yet. We probably increase stickers that we added last time. We want to work on those features that we implemented recently to improve upon them. I recently asked the UI team to make a guide on how to actually use G-Pose, and that was my last request to them.
Did you speculate on date?
For 5-4?
Uh-huh.
Let's
Right,
see
some
here.
rate. My guess.
They say early December. Yeah, it would be...
Second Tuesday, in my opinion.
I would say probably the 8th. December the 8th seems the most reasonable. That gets us right into the Christmas holiday.
That puts the next live letter week of Thanksgiving,
The week after
November
Thanksgiving.
24th.
Oh, you think that at the end of the week? I guess that'd work. I'd be happy to watch that on Thanksgiving.
Maybe because it's Thanksgiving, they move it up.
Yeah, like you could.
But I don't know if
they
that
could do
matters
it. They
to
could
them.
do it on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, Friday. Like, because that does give them
For anybody
plenty of
that's
room.
not American, Thanksgiving is the last Thursday of November in the United States, and it's a federal holiday. So
バトルコンテンツ大好きっ子の人たちにも
blown out both knees. That is such a bummer.
That sucks. I have. I had my knee kind of just broken in football in high school, so occasionally a slight incline destroys me. Yeah, I hope my kids don't want to play football.
誰でも取れるようになったからだと思うんで
I agree, Quattro Cinco, that cross hotbar is the greatest controller UI for an MMORPG. I just still prefer keyboard mouse.
やっぱり練っていかないと難しい
But
Keyboard
cross
mouse.
hotbar is the best of the systems as far as like how many features you can cram onto a controller and how you can make it feel most natural.
Yeah.
There are things that feel more natural to me, but they have less buttons.
Right.
So like it feels really natural to me to play Halo, but you can't do rotations. You need more stuff. So for the number of buttons, like the number of actions you can bind, it's great.
じゃあプリントスクリーンキーでいいやってなって
Um,
だからもうなんかスクショガチ
the controller's not on PTR. No, it's
Ooh.
not.
Lazy Swayze with celebrating
not.
their 2-month
That's a
subversary.
fair point.
Thank you so much for that tier 1 sub, Lazy.
もみたいな
Really appreciate the support.
あれやってこれやってっておぼつかない操作してると結構言われるんで
I didn't even show up in my events.
I still prefer to like fish or gather on controller. So Ulandar, like maybe that's how you start.
Chili is
If
Yoshi.
you want to try it up as a way to change, I find that really relaxing.
前にも
But for the longest time, Brian was playing
なんとなく
with
イメージが
controller on PC while I was still a PlayStation player.
やっぱりそれこそ
Um, I've moved less and less time on my PlayStation, but I was keyboard and mouse on PlayStation. I still have, so I own all 3 clients. One of
Mac,
them, thank
PC,
you
and
guys. You guys gifted me, a member of the community gifted me my Mac version.
どうやって実現
And then
どうなる
I bought my PC version,
その趣旨を
and then Square Enix gave me my PlayStation version of Shadowbringer specifically.
Yeah, the expansion.
Yeah.
The Chili says he tweeted out in December 8th the other day, and he predicted it right last time. So I've been kind of teasing him that he's actually Yoshi P this whole time. So he knows what's up.
そろそろこういうのも
Guys, if you're not following the Real Hot Chili Pepper on Twitter, please do so. We were on his podcast.
He's not even that good of a shadow employee. He's out in the public,
Yeah.
hosting things, running podcasts.
ものであったりとかっていう
キャッチボールがこうやって
What do we think about Mike Morhaime starting an independent studio?
本当にこんな感じで
I think it's exciting. They aren't ready to tackle an MMO. It doesn't seem to be when they've talked about what the 2 studios that they have on board right now are tackling and what the kinds of games those 2 studios want to build. An MMORPG doesn't seem to be a good fit.
Chris is such a bore. Oh, I think it's good.
So
It's awesome. Go, Mike. Hopefully he
It's-
crushes it.
UI 版で貼ったり
yeah, I'm excited for him. I guess I don't think it's that exciting of news because there's not
参加させていただきます
there's not a game.
思ってます
It, X. So here's the news. X studio director leaves company to start studio. Like, yeah, that's what he does. Like it's more of a surprise to me if he's like gonna go revolutionize the like home delivery flower industry. Like, yeah, that's what he does. He and his wife are incredibly passionate about games. And the idea that his old friends that he goes to lunch with would go work for him. Yeah, of course. So
Well, there's nothing to be excited about game-wise.
there's
yet.
nothing to be excited about yet.
But
And
if
I'm
I
not
was
saying there
a,
won't
if
be.
I
I
was a
wish them the
Blizzard
best.
employee, if I was a Blizzard employee though, or even if I'm not planning on going over to Dreamhaven, just to sit here and say there's another major studio who's going to be making games that I originally wanted to get in and got in Blizzard for, and if it starts going south or sideways, you know, like and they're saying like, hey, we're working on some cool stuff, like it gives you as a developer an option. you know, because they're in Irvine. You know, it's like they are right there. I think this
which
is
makes
great.
sense. Like
I
that's
think
where he lives.
I think this could even benefit Blizzard. Like I think this just having some competition. If Mike and his team could put together some really good games, I think this could be some competition that Blizzard's like, oh, well, we want to make sure we're taking care of our people and giving them what they need. Otherwise, like there's this, you know, like if he's successful, I think competition is one of the better ways that people's rights are protected, both from a consumer perspective, but also from a not getting completely screwed over perspective at work. If you don't have if there's not another job in town, you kind of just suck it up, you know, because you're like, well, it's beats being unemployed, but also then now if there's another option, you can be like, hey.
Blank, they mentioned that Monk they'd be touching Grease Lightning. That's about all we got as far as job balances in part 1. Part 2, towards the end of November, will be when we find out more job balances. They spent, as Lazy Swayze, they spent the first portion of stream going over Boja that's coming this Tuesday. It was all repeat information, but just in case, because it hasn't gone live yet, they did go ahead and take a chance and restate everything. And then they talked about what's different in 5.4. The big standout Bojan feature is that we will be getting our Baldesian Arsenal. It'll have a 24-man normal mode and a 48-man
hard mode, savage mode.
And so that's now keep in mind for anybody that wants their relic this time but hates Eureka and doesn't want anything even resembling Eureka, you will be able to get your relic outside of it. I assume it'll be less efficient based on previous statements where they've said, please try this. So I assume that they'll incentivize you to go in and give Bojan a shot, but it will not be the only way.
And Monk changes are coming. They mentioned Monk, but they did not go into detail. That will come in the second part of the live letter. So in 61, live letter 61, they'll go into more detail. But you'll get the most detail, obviously, with patch notes and, you know, when 5.4 drops. So they didn't
They'll show
go into
gameplay
detail.
then and stuff. They'll show. They said they'll show off the new Blue Mage stuff too, because Blue Mage is getting its next 10 levels.
I forgot that Blue Mage is getting its next 10 levels already. It's been a long live letter. Oh, yeah.
You should watch our summary, Brian.